What's up, 2424? What you know, what you know? Back at it again. Back at it again. I want to talk about a particular subject, right? I want to talk about Jaguar Wright versus the music industry slash Jay-Z. And so for those who don't know, right, Jaguar Wright is a female who was in the music industry, and basically she's spilling all the tea and whatnot what's going on in the music industry. And Diddy's in jail, and she's basically up against Jay-Z and other music industry people. So this particular battle, and this is a battle, this is a spiritual war. I see it. And I'm going to be paying close attention, right, to this aspect. I don't give a fuck about who Chuck fucked and all that other stuff. I'm worried about and paying attention about the spiritual aspects of this whole thing that's playing out. Now, the difference between Jay-Z and Diddy, right? Jay-Z is an adept spiritualist, right? We know this from his music. You know what I'm saying? They said he had connections with Malachi York or something like that, but that isn't all the way known. Some say that Jay-Z does Ifa, right? And those of you who don't know, Ifa is an African spiritual system, right? That is in Africa and also in Cuba. This is a very powerful spiritual system. So Jaguar Wright in one of her interviews admitted that she does Ifa. Now, some people say that she's a witch or this or that and other like that, but I heard that out of her mouth. So basically I'm here to narrate this particular battle, which is a spiritual battle. And in my opinion, and I believe this wholeheartedly with all my fucking heart, that it doesn't matter how much money is involved. Jay-Z doesn't have the advantage just because he has more money, lawyers, and all these things, right? He's going to have to utilize his spiritual tools just as Jaguar Wright is utilizing hers. So, consider me your narrator, and I want to talk about these aspects right between the two. Now, as far as Jay-Z, right, being an Ifa, I don't know if they saying he's a priest. He does Ifa or whatever, but there are limits to what he can do as far as Ifa. Why is that? Well, I actually asked somebody who's way more spiritually intelligent than I am, right? I asked him two questions, in fact. I says, well, look, can a person who venerates Baphomet, can they do Ifa? Two, can a person who venerates Baphomet also venerate their ancestors? On both of those aspects, I was told no, nah. And I said, why? What's going on with that? So, one thing, okay, before I give you his answer, I want to say this. We don't know what Jay-Z does, right? We're not in his house. We don't know, what he accused of. But we do know this. This is one thing that's 100% fact. Jay-Z and his albums have subliminals, right? Remember, Lucifer, son of a morning, I'm gonna chase you off the earth. I'm from the murder capital, we'll murder you for capital. Remember that shit? So when you play that song backwards, right? It had all that 666, Satan or some shit like that. Now, if you are a spiritual person, right? And you're dealing with the spiritual aspect of life, your ancestors don't like that shit. Because number one, you are venerating lower vibrations, right? Whatever people say, oh, Satan don't exist, say, oh, that's just this, that, and the third. But one thing for sure, two things for sure, certain. It is a low vibrational frequency as far as spiritual elevation, right? So he's doing that against a person's will. When you put like subliminal messages and stuff like that into anything, or you try to put a person under a spell and hypnotize them against their will, that is very, very wrong. And your ancestors do not ride with that. Your ancestors are, and this is everybody's ancestors. And when I mean ancestors, the difference between dead relatives and ancestors, right? Ancestors are your elevated dead relatives. So we're going to stipulate your elevated dead relatives, right? Who gave you the $1 trillion lottery ticket to say, hey, you next incarnation. That was your ancestors that sent you here. So your ancestors, the way they operate, right? And this is the way incarnation and reincarnation happens, right? This is the thing with the Egyptian Kemetic thing as far as Heru and Set. Heru, which is Osiris, also known as Osar, also known as Wizard's son, right? So he fought Set. Set is the power dynamic of living, you can just say like this. This is what the Baphomet, you know what I'm saying, people who want to deal with the Baphomet, they deal with the power, right? There is really no morality in that. The problem with when you're dealing with that aspect, right, is if there is no morality for too long, human beings will cease to fucking exist. You see what I'm saying? So this is why the elites who control things, right, who've been controlling things for centuries, they have a control aspect as how they do things as far as the balance of morality, which is what they use for control, and the balance of corruption, because they don't want you too moral, they don't want you too spiritually elevated, because you can't be controlled, because you worried about those things, you worry about the spiritual things, right? You can't be too corrupt because you will try to take their ass over. So there is a balance when it comes to them, right? You see, you understand what I'm saying? 24, you feel me? So your ancestors have to be, all ancestors, these are all races of ancestors, have to be moral. They have to have a particular moral code, and they can't really abide by it. Their descendants acting too immoral. Now, they give you free will, right? Which means that you can do and operate as you please. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, right? For the most part. And we'll talk about the other aspects, you know, in other videos. But you're free to do what you want. So, for the most part. Okay? So, Jayz doesn't have the aspect of his ancestors with him in this, right? Even in Ifa, right? Ifa has particularly lots of moral principles, right? If you break these principles, these deities will go against you. They will punish you. And there's some people who, you know, they operate Ifa. They try to do it in a negative way, but you know what I'm saying? It's really kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's not favorable. So if you're going to operate in a negative way, so that's something like you would do like with the Baphomet and Satanism and all this other, you know, black magic and all these other type things, right? So Jaguar Wright says that she, you know, she used to deal with the Baphomet, right? but she doesn't anymore. This is what she said out her mouth. So this is the thing. This is what Jaguar Wright has the advantage of. Now, I don't know Jaguar White's, I don't know her life either. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going by what she says. So, but from what I see, these are dynamic of justice and power. Power being Jayz, justice meaning Jaguar Wright. So she has a lot of people. I don't know a lot of people, but she has some people that are backing her because she's fighting for justice. Now, I have to say this. People say, "Oh man, she's crazy. She's crazy. She's not wine right." But let me tell you something, man. To go through what she's been through, to be in a giant fucking cult as the music industry, which it is, and to go against that, you can't be just like a regular motherfucker. You can't. You have to be what people consider a little bit crazy. You have to. And she's a woman. And women naturally don't go against the grain. You know what I'm saying? So this is a special type of energy. But here's the thing, and this is what I noticed too, and what I saw significantly, right? So look, Damon Dash said something very significant too on a short video. He said, they was talking about one of her interviews, I think it was her latest interview, or one of her latest interviews. He said, damn, you know what? I wanted to say that. But if I felt like if I would say that, motherfuckers would say I'm hating. Now, here's the thing. And this is one of the things that we learn in African spirituality, right? There are no prophets really in African spirituality, right? You have to understand that all aspects of life, when you're looking for answers for anything, right? You find it in nature, you'll find it in anything. You have to be completely objective where you find the answers to. Some people say, oh shit, motherfucker, if you broke, you can't tell me shit. But you have to understand something, right? Even from a rich person to a poor person, they can give them the key to their fucking divine purpose. You understand what I'm saying? This is how it works. You have to be open. You know, one of the things, Kanye say, oh, you can't, if you broke, you can't tell me nothing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's not wisdom, really. That's not wisdom. But anyway, getting back to Damon Dash. So, what I'm saying is, Jaguar Wright, the energy of this, right, of justice is coming through a woman, right? So we thinking like, oh, well, it's not coming through a masculine energy. But see, this is not how universal law of things work, right? It has to come through a woman. If this is really justice, right, coming through, it has to come through a woman, because all this gossip, as what people say, all this tea spilling, right? If it was through a man, it wouldn't sound right. It wouldn't be received right. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to understand that. You see what I'm saying? So this is why things is coming through her. You know what I'm saying? We have to understand the balance between masculine and feminine energies, right? Because they're feminine deities and they're masculine deities, right? There's 55 aspects of Oshun. For people who don't know, Oshun is the goddess of Orisha of Ifa. And she's a goddess, and she's 55 aspects of war with her. So feminine war is different than masculine war. Feminine war is indirectness, is, you know what I'm saying, stabbing a person with a smile. You know what I'm saying?
I have, but like...
Career feminine criminals, right? Female criminals, right? People say like criminologists, right? Females, they operate differently. You know what I'm saying? Than men. See, All criminology is based on masculine thought. So professional female criminals who are careful are very hard to catch because they think differently. A female criminal, just say a female bank robber, they'll rob the bank and then go to the spa down the street after they rob the bank, right? And then the police will be looking for them at the train stations and airports and shit, and they right there. And they chose to pick that bank because it had a nice spa right down the street. This shit that this man, wouldn't think of. You understand what I'm saying? So the feminine aspect of war is different than a man, right? So we have to understand this. So this is the thing. This is the balance, right? Y'all feel me? Right. So, what Jaguar Wright has to do, this is what she has to do. If she wants to really be successful in this, she has to obey the oracles of Ordomila, meaning so when she gets readers and stuff like that, she has to obey that. She has to venerate, what she needs to do, all her male ancestors. She needs to elevate all her dead relatives. I'm talking about all the man relatives, granddad who was in, Vietnam or Korea, great granddad who was in World War II, World War I, Civil War, all those things. She needs to do her research and elevate all them. So she has all her aunts, as many warrior ancestors. She also needs the female ancestors, right? So her son died. This is the first ancestor she has to raise up to an ancestor. From a dead relative, right? To an ancestor and elevate him so he can protect her. But she needs to do all her ancestors. She needs to cut back on the booze and the weed, right? She can go to a deity like Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte is very good for women, but number one, who've been through traumas, all the feminine traumas you can think of. We ain't got to go into it. She's also good for people with, helping people with addiction. She's also good with destroying organizations. So Santa Muerte is very good, but Santa Muerte isn't for everybody. So this is something she would probably have to ask, her ancestors or ask the oral Ikfa should, if she should do these things. She needs a very good spiritual team. She needs a very good spiritual team, right? So she needs Ifa. So most likely, I believe she said something about a Shea Ifa. But she could probably deal with Lukumi Ifa. So if there's things that she needs answered, the things that she needs, that she may answer that she may not get from the African aspect of Ifa, she can go to the Cuban aspect, if it's okay with her ancestors. So you understand what I'm saying? She also could use a little bit of Palo Mayombe, Palo Monte, Brujeria Palo. Because let me tell you something, Palo is real good at taking down corrupt motherfuckers, right? Them spirits of the dead don't fucking play. And it's just easy. People who dealing with that Baphomet stuff, it's just, all the corruption they got is just like a weapon for them. You know what I'm saying? They use against them. You feel me? So this is something that she should probably consider, man. Hey, share this video. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about spiritual war here, right? African spirituality. Utilizing everything. She needs a person, a Misa, a medium to let her, what ascended master she has. What archangels have her back. She needs to utilize all these things, right? Because if she's able to utilize her ancestors, right, then this is very powerful. Jay-Z is at a very disadvantage spiritually, right? See that Baphomet shit, right? Only that Baphomet shit and that satanic shit only works for the fucking sheeple, the sheep. A goat, the Baphomet, which is a Baphomet goat, ain't nothing but a glorified sheep. Separating the sheep for the goats. You're still fucking cattle. So, with people who are on a higher spiritual plane, right? They can't be really moved by that as much as a person, as the sheep, or as the spiritually dead. You feel me? That's facts. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about this, 24? You agree with me? Those who are spiritually inclined? You understand what I'm saying? So, Jaguar, she needs to have a good spiritual team. And let me tell you something, she got a die-hard attitude. She's all or nothing. She act like she got nothing to lose in this particular situation. You know, Jay-Z has a lot to lose. The music industry has a lot to lose. The names that she's naming, they have a lot to lose. And she don't. And goddamn it, it's a fucking karma 8 year. 2024 is a karma fucking year. So anybody who rock hard with the Matrix, man, you better watch out. You gotta be careful. Because it's like Cat Williams said, man, all is gonna be, man, it's gonna be devastating for motherfuckers, you feel me? So, this is my take. Only thing Jay-Z really got, he got the Baphomet thing right. You know, he got to use his magic, his Goetia, his Necrocomanon or whatever. Them, you know, all these, you know, renegade spirits that can be bought or sold, basically. When I say that, I mean, these spirits will work with anybody who venerates them to a point. You see what I'm saying? But that's a disadvantage because none of these spirits really have anything invested in them. And the person that they're dealing with. You understand what I'm saying? It's a big difference. So he only can utilize the Ifa so much to a degree. You know, and chances are corruption follows corruption. So the Ifa priest that he deals with, chances are they're corrupt. They're only going to give him a corrupt perspective. They might be charlatans. They may not be elevated properly. You see what I'm saying too? Because there's levels of spiritual work, right? This is what she needs to do. She needs to go and get the highest level of spiritual work, right? Because in Ifa, you have spiritual work that's a 3, that's a 2. These what they give a lot of people over there in Africa when they have the Ifa festivals, right? They give people novelty spiritual work, meaning, you know, they give them a little something, you know, for the people, for the tourists, you know, a little trinkets and stuff. But you have high level spiritual work, which is a 16 or beyond. This is spiritual work of a queen, a king, royalty. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Somebody important, right? This is some of the things what they utilized, what they took back, right? When with Lukumi Ifa, right? Some people elevated, they know how to do the higher level spiritual work for a king or queen or a priest, right? Because we coming from slavery, man, we need the highest level of spiritual work. We don't need motherfuckers giving us novelty spiritual work or worse, cheating us. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take, man. What do y'all think? This is a long video. If you watch to this far, hey man, thank you for support. Like and share this video because ain't nobody talking like this about this subject.